On the red dust of planet Noraxis under a burning twin sun, the battlefield was quiet for a moment. Thousands of alien spectators filled the towering arena. Their glowing eyes watched with amusement, expecting the human to lose quickly. They laughed, pointed, and shouted in their strange tongue. For them, this was a game, a show. In the center of the battle ring stood Liana, the last human warrior from Unit Sigma 9. Her armor was scratched, her blade dull, and her body tired from the long war. Behind her was a small broken flagpole. The sacred human banner lay torn on the ground. She glanced at it once, her jaw tight. Across from her stood her enemy, a massive alien commander named Gorvak. He was twice her size, covered in heavy black armor, holding a plasma axe that still dripped with energy. Around his neck he wore trophies from past battles, small metal tags taken from fallen warriors, human ones. A loud horn blew. The battle began. Liana charged first, her breath steady. She ducked low and moved fast, slashing at Gorvak's leg. Sparks flew. He barely flinched. He spun, swinging his axe with full force. The blade hit her shoulder. A loud crack echoed across the arena. Liana flew back, hitting the ground hard. The wind was knocked out of her. Her sword slid away. The audience roared with joy. To them, it was over. Blood ran down her arm. Her vision blurred. The pain was sharp, deep. She tried to push herself up, but her arms trembled. She looked at her hand, covered in dust and blood. For a moment she saw nothing but light. Sounds faded. The announcers in their floating pods began to declare Gorvak as the victor. Alien soldiers moved forward to collect the banner. One of them raised it high, mocking her defeat. But down on the ground, Liana's fingers twitched. She was still breathing, still alive. And deep inside her chest, something stronger than pain began to burn. A memory. She remembered the faces of her fallen unit. Sergeant Della, who once taught her how to fix a broken power cell. Juno, who sang softly before missions. And Captain Thorne, who gave her the flag when the others had fallen, saying, "If you hold this, we are not gone." Liana clenched her jaw. She rolled slowly to her side, staying low. No one saw her move. They were too busy watching Gorvak celebrate. She pulled herself inch by inch to the side of the arena, into a dark corner filled with smoke and debris. There, beneath the stage, she found a narrow tunnel, likely a forgotten maintenance route. She slipped inside. Every breath was a battle, but she moved, quietly, with purpose. The arena lights faded behind her. Only darkness remained. She didn't know where the tunnel led, but she knew one thing. She was not done. The banner was not theirs to keep. The tunnel was cold and narrow. Liana moved through it with slow, painful steps. Her left shoulder was burning. Dried blood stuck to her skin under the armor. Her breath was short, each inhale sharp like a knife. But her eyes stayed focused. She didn't look back. Not once. Above her, the alien arena echoed with cheers. Gorvak was being celebrated. Her defeat was being broadcast to 100 worlds. Some might even say the humans were finally finished. But they were wrong. In the silence of the tunnel, she heard only her heartbeat. Steady, angry. She used the wall for support, moving deeper underground. The lights here were old, flickering blue, and some were dead. It smelled of metal, dust, and old battles. Broken parts were scattered on the floor. This was a place forgotten by the aliens, but not by the war. Soon she reached a wide chamber. The walls were covered in ancient human symbols, now covered in ash. This had once been a supply room for human forces, before they lost this planet. Now it was just ruins, but ruins can hold secrets. Liana fell to her knees, breathing hard. Her fingers touched the wall. She remembered this room from an old mission briefing. Her unit had planned to use it as a fallback base, but that plan never happened. Everyone was killed before they could reach it. Everyone, except her, as she sat there, A small light on the far wall blinked. Weak, but alive. She crawled toward it and opened a hidden panel. Inside, wrapped in dust and wires, was a box, stamped with the symbol of the old, Earth resistance. She opened it. Inside were two things: a small injector marked Regan serum and a short plasma dagger with the words, "Honor never sleeps," scratched into its hilt. She smiled through the pain. Without hesitation, she injected the serum into her arm. The burn was instant. Her veins lit up. Her heart raced. Her vision sharpened. The pain in her shoulder faded just enough to move again. She took the dagger and strapped it to her side. She stood slowly, testing her balance. It hurt, but she could walk again. There was no time to waste. The alien celebration would end soon. They would claim the banner as theirs. They would lock it away, a trophy of her failure, and no one would remember the girl who once swore to protect it. No, she couldn't let that happen. Lyanna moved back into the tunnel, faster now. Her body was not fully healed, but her mind was burning with purpose. Every step was powered by memory of her captain's voice, her friend's laughter, the oath she made when she first held the banner. Outside the tunnel, the night had fallen. Stars lit the sky above the arena. The main gate was closed, guarded by two massive alien sentries, but Lyanna didn't go for the front. She climbed, using pipes and shadows. She scaled the outer wall of the arena. It was risky. It was stupid, but it worked. The guards never looked up. They never imagined someone broken and beaten would dare to return. From the top, she looked down into the central arena. The crowd had thinned, but the banner was still there, tied to a tall golden staff. Lights were on it. It glowed under alien symbols. Her fists clenched. She dropped down into the inner level, moving through the back corridors. She avoided cameras, avoided voices. Every sound could mean discovery. But her fire kept burning. Closer now. She stopped, near the edge of the arena entrance. Her hand rested on the dagger. She looked out at the field where she had fallen. She saw the exact spot where her blood had stained the dust, and she whispered to herself, "Not again." The fire in her chest wasn't pain anymore. It was purpose. And tomorrow, the galaxy would remember her name. The arena lights were dim now. The celebration was over. Alien soldiers had left. Only a few guards remained near the platform where the human banner was tied. It fluttered gently in the cool night wind. A trophy of victory they believed was final, but the shadows were not empty. Lyanna moved quietly along the outer ring of the arena, staying close to the walls. Her breaths were slow, her steps silent, her eyes locked on the banner. That piece of cloth was not just fabric. It held the spirit of her people, her oath, her entire purpose. The plasma dagger rested in her grip. She didn't plan to fight unless she had to. Her goal was simple: take the banner back, show them she wasn't broken, and walk out standing tall. Alive or not, they would remember her. She waited in the dark until the nearest guard turned his back. Then she moved. Swift like wind, she crossed the distance and took the guard down with the hilt of her dagger. No sound. No warning. The second guard turned too late. Lyanna kicked him hard in the knee and knocked him out before he could call for help. Silence returned. She stepped onto the platform. It was higher than she remembered. Maybe because last time she saw it from the ground, half-conscious, in pain, defeated. Now she stood tall, breathing hard, steady. Her fingers touched the banner's pole. The cloth was smooth and heavy. It still smelled of ash and fire. Her heartbeat pounded in her chest as she slowly untied it. Just then, a deep voice echoed behind. "Are you again?" She turned fast. Gorvok stood there at the edge of the arena. No crowd, no cameras. Just him. Still in armor, still massive, but no longer smiling. Maybe he was surprised. Maybe he was angry, but mostly he looked curious. "You don't know when to stay down," he growled. Lyanna didn't speak. She held the banner in one hand, the dagger in the other. Her stance was firm. Ready. He stepped closer. You are alone. Broken. Weak. This is your end. She tilted her head slightly. You talk too much. Then she ran toward him. The fight was fast, brutal and real. Gorvak swung his blade, but Lyanna ducked under it. She moved low, fast, stabbing at weak points in his armor. He grunted, trying to catch her, but she was too quick now, sharper, smarter. He grabbed her arm once, threw her to the ground. Pain exploded through her body. She rolled, blood in her mouth. Her vision swam. But then she saw the banner lying near her, and she remembered why she came. With a cry deep from her soul, she launched at him, driving the plasma dagger deep into the side of his armor. He stumbled back, roaring in pain. She didn't stop. Strike after strike, until the great warrior fell to his knees, gasping, stunned. His blade dropped, and Lyanna stood over him, shaking, bloodied, but still standing. She picked up the banner again and walked back to the center of the arena. She climbed the steps and faced the night sky. Then, with slow and steady arms, she lifted the banner high above her head, and the arena, which once laughed at her defeat, fell into a deep silence. Camera drone somewhere above turned on. Someone had seen it, then another. Soon, across the stars, people watched in disbelief as the human warrior who had fallen now stood victorious, the sacred banner glowing in her hands. She didn't smile. She didn't shout. She just stood there, calm, strong, and unshaken. This was not for fame, not for glory. It was for honor. And across the galaxy, billions of beings understood that in that moment, she had won something far greater than a battle. The stars were fading behind the smoke. The arena, once filled with noise and pride, now stood still and quiet. Alien guards gathered at the edges but didn't step forward. They watched her with something unfamiliar in their eyes. Not fear, not anger, but respect. Lyanna stood in the center, the human banner held tightly in her hands. Its cloth moved with the breeze, stained with dirt, ash, and a drop of her blood. Above her, silent drones hovered. Cameras blinked. Across many systems, living rooms, and military bunkers tuned in. No one turned away. This image, a lone human woman standing tall after defeat, burned itself into memory. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Gorvak lay unconscious behind her, defeated not by strength alone, but by something deeper: determination, memory, purpose. A soft chime rang from the upper tower. The alien High Council had arrived, not in person but through floating holospheres. The great glowing circles descended, forming a ring in the air above her. One by one, the ancient alien voices spoke. The human warrior has reclaimed her. Symbol, said the first. She has stood against our champion and survived, said the second. What shall be done? Asked the third. There was silence. Then the fourth voice, older and slower, answered, Let it be known. She carries not just cloth, but courage. We will honor her act. The council's decision was final. The banner would not be taken again. Her victory was now law. Lyanna lowered the flag slowly and tied it around her back, like a cape. Then she walked toward the exit. No one blocked her path. No guards moved. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. As she passed the outer ring, alien children stared from behind energy barriers. One of them, a small girl with blue skin, placed her hand to the glass and whispered something in her native tongue. Lyanna didn't know the words, but the meaning was clear. You gave us hope. Outside the arena, a shuttle waited. It was old, rusted, but it had the human symbol carved on its side. Someone had sent it, a quiet ally from another world perhaps, someone who had watched and remembered. She stepped into the shuttle alone. The doors closed behind her with a soft hiss. As the engines hummed and the ship lifted into the sky, the city below faded into lights and smoke. But the message had already spread. On planet after planet, Her story played. Children reenacted the battle in the streets. Alien poets spoke her name in verse. Soldiers raised their own banners a little higher. Commanders in war rooms paused to think. And on Earth, a monument was already being planned. The woman who fell rose again. Not for revenge, not for glory, but for something stronger. Duty. Years passed. Wars came and ended. Rulers changed. Flags were redesigned. But her story never faded. They spoke of her not as a weapon, but as a symbol. Her name became part of war studies, of peace talks, of bedtime stories told under starlight. Some say she disappeared into the deep stars, never seen again. Others believe she still walks among the silent worlds, helping those who've been forgotten. Just like she once was. But one thing is certain. When people look up at the sky and feel small, they remember her. When they feel weak, they remember how she stood. Alone. Yes. But never, ever forgotten.